it's just one big story, isn't it?
Hi everyone, welcome to the Story Connection. I'm your host, Donna Wilberg. Well, everyone has a story, but what we look for is the story behind the story. And tonight we are here with Nathan Schemel, and he's going to tell his story of his journey as a filmmaker. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you become interested in film and TV and all the wonderful things that you've been up to?
When I started out, I'm from Rancho Cordova originally. I was going to Cordova High, and my friends and I played around with a little bit of video, but I didn't think that was a viable option for me and as an artist. And so when I went to junior college, I went to American River College, and I was a business major. I was an English major. I still hadn't made that connect that I wanted to pursue a career in media. And I took a filmmaking class at American River College, and I really loved it. And I really connected with the class at that point. And so I decided that once I transferred, I was going to transfer to Cal State Northridge and study film. And so I moved to Los Angeles and went to Cal State University Northridge and got my four-year degree from Cal State Northridge in film production. The degree is actually radio, television, and film, although my emphasis was in film production. And so I got to learn about film, and that kind of got me going on my world of cinema. It was kind of from a mild interest in taking one class at American River College and then transferring down to LA and engaging with that program down there. And with that program was a film program. And so when I studied film, I actually did work with film, which makes me a little bit of an old school film brat from the film day. So I know things about, emulsion and film stock and that type of thing that kids today wouldn't deal with.
What kind of projects did you work on?
The one thing I thought was really great when I first started film school was I took a photography class, which you don't, sometimes people don't really make that connection, but it's so important to know photography before actually shooting film. Video these days is great. I mean, you can shoot and you've got media cards that you can dump and shoot as much footage as you want. It doesn't really cost you much of anything. Film is very expensive. For every minute of film, you're spending hundreds of dollars. And so to learn those principles in film first is very important. So we took a still photography class first, and you get to learn about your f-stops and your shutter speeds and your film speeds and do all that up front. And then when you transfer into film, you aren't spending as much time learning the hard lessons about underexposing, overexposing, using the wrong f-stop, those type of things. Like you learn that quickly and still then you move into to actual film photography. And so the projects I would work on, the first project we did was without sound because sound adds this extra level of complication. So my first film project was a very simple project where it was a man interacting with different objects on a park bench, and we shot that in film, and it probably cost me $400 or $500 in film stock, which is actually very reasonable at the time. And it was also in black and white. And then we moved on to color, and we shot in color film, and we started moving audio into the mix. And then by the time I did my final senior thesis, it was a 25-minute long full color 16 millimeter project that we shot. I actually came back up to Sacramento to shoot my senior project, so we shot throughout Sacramento, and I showed my film at the Crest Theater at the end of the whole run. So
nice. It
was an exciting process to go through and learn how to do film. It's skills. I'm not as set in my ways as some film people are, where I don't believe in the digital transition. Digital is beautiful, digital is great, and it's so much more reasonable. It really frees up people to tell their stories, where film had a very high bar for entry in terms of what the expense would be on film. And so I'm actually very happy with the digital transition. You can get great image quality for very reasonable fees. So,
what got you so excited that you just wanted to keep doing it?
It wasn't like I saw Citizen Kane and was just blown away by the visual imagery, although I do love Citizen Kane. And I wanted to do that, I wanted to replicate that. It was more when I was learning business and learning English, I was worried that I was going to spend my life doing one thing. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm interested in law, maybe I could do a project about law and film, or if I'm interested in this, I can gravitate towards that project. And so I felt that film, beyond just being an artistic endeavor, also just kind of leads to a more diverse existence, that you can, if you're interested in something, go do something that relates to that. Now, professionally, that wasn't quite how it works. I mean, obviously, you don't always pick your projects pick you, but it has given me a huge diversity in what I've been able to accomplish in my early life, and so it did get that for me. I think I pursued film more as a gateway to just having a different life experiences. That I'm not sitting at a desk all the time. I'm not interacting with the same computer screen all day long. I get to go out in the world. I get to meet people. I get to engage in different fashions. And so I think that was more why I did what I did. And realistically, it really has filled that for me. I've really enjoyed it. So.
Well, let's talk about some of the projects you worked on, some of the shows, some of the films.
Okay, yeah. Slowly speed up, I guess. I went to, when I got out of college, I wasn't quite ready to come back up to Sacramento, and so I started working in LA, and I worked as a personal assistant for a little while, which is somebody that just takes phone numbers and phone calls all day long, and that got that got a little boring pretty quickly, and I missed Sacramento. I love Sacramento, so I decided to come back up here. And I started freelancing, which is what a lot of film people do. And I was a grip, which is somebody that handles everything that's not electrical on film sets. And I worked on a couple of films, Gentle Ben, which is like a Hallmark film, as a grip. And I worked as an audio guy for a William Shatner film called Groom Lake, and that was fun. So I did a lot of feature film work, and I started doing teleprompter work here in town. And an opportunity came up that they needed some help on a TV show for the Sacramento Kings. And so my name got floated around, and they said we should bring you in, and they started me off as an associate producer on the Sacramento Kings TV show, and they liked my work ethic, and I very quickly started to become a producer for the Sacramento Kings, and we did a show called House Party Live. It went on for 5 years, and it was a half-hour pregame show, a halftime show that we would do, and then we would do a half-hour post-game show where we do interviews and that type of thing. And it was a great opportunity for me to learn how to do TV production work like we're doing today in the studio. I came from a film world. I came from a single camera. I came from shooting, a lot of money through a camera at a give and go. And the Kings afforded me an opportunity to really learn how to do TV production work, where I didn't intern at a news station. I didn't do those type of activities, and it was a blast. It was a lot of fun to work in that atmosphere. Yeah. And I'm not even a big sports fan, and working with the Kings was probably just a huge highlight to be able to be a part of that world and go to different cities. We actually had for our home games we would shoot out of a truck at the arena, and then for our away games we would do the studio, which would either be Cal Image or we went to KVAE Channel 6 for some of our facilities. But about once a year I would take my show on the road, and I get to travel with the team, and I go to Philadelphia, I go to Miami, I go to all the different NBA towns and check out all those cities, and just so much fun to be a part of that. It's a busy schedule. I mean, you're working constantly 3 to 4 games a week, and you're always building something for the TV show, but a lot of fun. And so I did that for a little while, and then once I got done with that show, I got an opportunity to work on a national TV show called Turf War for the DIY Network and HDTV, which was a backyard makeover show. And so I went from doing live TV into reality TV, but the good kind of reality TV, not the, highlighting some of the lowest common denominator that we typically see, but a reality TV show where we get to give people
different kind of dirt.
Yeah, different kind of, definitely it was a dirty show. I'll give it that. It was, we spent, we would really do this in 2 days. We would rebuild people's backyards, have a competition, and the reason why they hired me to produce it was that I was a sports producer, and so they wanted me to make a sport out of landscape makeovers, and so I kind of did. I created a game where we would go into 2 neighbors' houses, and we would completely destroy their backyard and then rebuild it beautiful after 2 days, and that was a lot of fun. The host of the show was a gentleman named Ahmed Hassan, who's a landscaper, and he's from the Bay Area, but he's actually transplanted. He's here in Sacramento now. And what an education. Again, like I didn't know a lot about, I didn't know much about sports when I produced for the Sacramento Kings, but then when I worked for the landscape makeover company, I didn't know much about landscape makeovers, but now if you want me to bid your backyard, I could probably do it, because I was forced to project manage, 50 backyard makeovers and see what all those things cost and how we put all those pieces together, and it was a blast. Like literally, like the show was awesome. We had so much fun in 2 days, and it's amazing to see what people can accomplish when you have a lot of hands on deck building together. And so it is kind of the good part of reality TV. You get to change people's lives in a small way, give them something beautiful in their backyard.
How many shows did you do?
We did a season.
season?
We do 13 shows a season, so I did 2 seasons of 13, and we had one. We actually had 2 specials. We did a Christmas special in Rockland, which was awesome. I brought in 14 tons of snow, which is an amazing thing to try to accomplish sometimes. And then we also did a show with Major League Baseball, which was a blast. We went to St. Louis, and we shot a St. Louis Cardinals fan versus a Cubs fan in their 2 backyards, and each had a theme. And that was probably one of the most difficult shows I've ever had to do, was the St. Louis show, because we worked with the Major League Baseball for that TV show. We had to, there were so many things that were against us in that show. We had a torrential downpour in between the days. We had anywhere from 3 to 4 inches in the location that we were at of rain, and it was St. Louis in the middle of August, which I don't know if any of the viewers have decided to vacation in St. Louis in August, but it is quite.
Been there.
I think they call it misery.
Yeah.
But it was, I think it was a heat index of 118 degrees
goodness.
one day while we were shooting, and it was.
Steam.
We had 2 girls that almost had heat stroke. We had to like take them inside and protect them, and it was just a mess. It was. I think that. I'm probably synonymous with a bad word in St. Louis at this point, because it was an interesting thing. I went to a part of like your show scouting is you go to St. Louis and you say, hey, I'm interested in doing a TV show in your town, and this is what we're trying to do. We need to put dumpsters on the road, and we have to do all these things. And so I go and meet up. It was actually in a small town outside of St. Louis called O'Fallon, Missouri. And I met with the town, and I said, we're looking to do this TV show. And they quickly said, no, thank you. And I go, oh, really? We're going to improve 2 of your citizens' backyard. We'll increase their property value. We'll do all these things. And they said, we've had extreme home makeover in our town, and they destroyed the place, and we don't want that.
Oh, no.
And so I had to tell them, well, I'm not Extreme Home Makeover. I'm a backyard makeover show. We're not as big as that show. We're not destroying people's homes. We're just giving them backyards, and everything will be fine. And then after we got done with that show, between the 4 inches of rain and all the other problems we had, I pretty much destroyed the street. And I think it took about 3 weeks to clean up the property after we got done there, because it was just so. It just got way bigger than it should have been, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, like as a producer, that's what you live on. You're like, oh, I love the chaos. I love having to solve problems, but yeah, there's a lot of problems on that show. And I think, like, to clarify, I would officially call myself a producer. I'm as a professional, I have become a producer. Producer's a facilitator, and in TV, sometimes that producer is also a creative individual where they bring together the elements of the TV show. Like I would have a director on my King show that directed my camera angles, but for my reality TV show, we didn't even have a director. I would tell my camera people what camera angles to take, where to take them, what their directions were, and they would do what I had to do, because we just didn't have a director on set.
Yeah.
And so, but that was fun. It was a great time, and you know, the show went out to over 20 million people, which was huge viewership. And it was a great show, and you know, unfortunately, the network eventually canceled it. But it was a fun show to be on.
Well, we've got 10 minutes left in the show.
Okay.
So we do want to show some of your work, some of the clips that you've done from. Do you want to set them up for us?
Well, and actually, the clip I have, when I talk about my professional career, it's all things that I get paid to do. But actually, in my hobby, one thing that started when I did my senior thesis for my school was that we didn't really have a film festival here in Sacramento, so I started one when I was 21 years old. And that's one thing that we showed our film as a part of, is part of that film festival. The next year we took submissions, and so I asked people to give me film submissions. And so for the last 15 years, I've been running a film festival called the Sacramento Film and Music Festival for Sacramento. We don't make any money doing that film festival. It's definitely a hobby and a work of passion. But we've ran our film festival at the Crest Theater for 15 years. We show great films from around the world. We show local films. We try our best to highlight local artists. And one thing that we do, we actually have 2 interactive projects. Like here at Access Sacramento, they do the place called Sacramento Project, which is a great project where they pull in scripts from around the world, or from around the city, about the city, and then tell filmmakers and also the writers to say, hey, let's make something. And I know a lot of people that got their careers started through a project like that. We do kind of the same thing, or a similar project. We do a 10 by 10 filmmaker challenge where we tell filmmakers, here's a theme. You've got 10 days to make a film that's 10 minutes or less, kind of like a cinema sports thing. and they make beautiful projects. And one of our other projects that we do is a thing called the Sac Music Scene, which is a similar project where we tell local filmmakers, here's some music from local bands, make music videos for them, and it becomes this huge networking thing. And we've made nearly 200 music videos through this process in the last 10 years.
Okay.
And that's what I'd like to show you guys is some of the projects that are from local filmmakers, and the music's set to a song by Autumn Sky, who's a local folk artist. And the videos, the compilation you're gonna see is videos from last year. Right now, there are music video producers making videos this year for this year. So,
Super.
so yeah, take a look at it.
Well, let's take a look. A lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's amazing what they can do. And those videos, they're done on micro budgets. They're really work of passions for most of the artists, and filmmakers don't always have a lot of resources, and musicians don't always have a lot of resources. But together, they can build these really, really great projects.
So now you're teaching.
Yes, I'm a teacher.
Talk about that.
Okay, I'm a full-time teacher at the Art Institute of Sacramento, which is an art college. We have programs in game art design. I teach personally in the film, they call it the DFVP, Digital Film and Video Production program. But we have culinary, and we have web design, and we also have interior design and photography and a bunch of other different arts programs. But I teach there full-time. Love working with the students. I love the students there. It's such a great little culture, a bubble of great filmmakers that have been really elevated the level of filmmaking within Sacramento. Sean Stuvey, who made one of our music videos that you saw there, he's one of our students out there, does a great job. I think he was on your show.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He's done a lot of great projects.
Sean is a very talented artist, and I'm happy to call him one of my students, and hopefully he keeps developing and learns as he goes along, but he's a very talented individual. He made one of our music videos for us last year. I'm hoping he makes something for us this year. But yeah, all of my students there are awesome. I've been teaching for roughly I guess 8 years now. I've been full-time at AI for about a year. And prior to that, I was a part-time teacher at AI, and when I did my TV show, I had to stop teaching because it was just too much work to manage.
Yeah.
But I've always maintained a schedule at Sac City College also, and I'm a part-time professor at Sac City College. I teach a filmmaking class there, which is a lot of fun. They're more beginning students than the Sean Stuveys of the world. They're just coming in off the world, and I'm always amazed. Like in this modern day, when I've got an HD camera in my pocket that's my phone, that I come to class and I say, okay, who has a camera? And a lot of students still don't. I mean, it's 2014, and even they have limited access to HD cameras, and so it's educating them on how to acquire cameras, how to use the cameras properly, even if they have automatic settings, how to make those things work in your favor, and it's a lot of fun teaching out there too. And so I find it very rewarding. I'm kind of a social individual, and I chose filmmaking because it is it offered a diverse life for me, and part of that diversity is being able to meet as many different people as possible in my life, and with teaching kind of fills that void also. It lets me interact with new people, even though it may be a similar class I'm teaching. I'm meeting new students, and every time the dynamic's different. And as an educator, I firmly believe that when you die is when you stop learning. Like, just because I'm teaching students doesn't mean I'm not learning myself.
Yeah.
I mean, conversations today include the students telling me about new cameras that I don't even know about yet, and it's just amazing. They're like sponges, and I need to be able to learn from them. If I don't learn from them too, it's not working the way it should. So
it makes it interesting.
yeah, exactly right.
Well, why don't we give some information? Where can people get in touch with you?
Okay, if you want to find out about the Sacramento Film Music Festival, our website is sacfilm.com. And that's been our website for a very long time, and they've got a bunch of information about the event. The event's coming up in August of this year. If you guys would like to reach me personally, my email address is sacfilm@gmail.com, and if you have any questions, feel free to shoot questions over to me. If you're interested in going to Sac City College, go to the Sac City website. They have all information about classes that are being offered. They teach classes in video editing. Also, Rob Gore is one of the teachers out there, and he's a great teacher. And if you're interested in going to the Art Institute, they have their website also, and that's a four-year college. You can get a four-year degree there, and it's really the most advanced program you can have in the Sacramento region in terms of what we teach the students. So if you're interested in cinema arts and that type of thing. So
Great.
yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's give some information about the Story Connection.
The Story Connection airs the second and fourth Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our companion show, Paranormal Connection, airs the first and third Thursdays of each month. Each episode repeats the following Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. Watch these programs online at the same airtimes by going to accesssacramento.org and clicking Watch 17. In the Sacramento region, you can see us on Comcast Channel 17 and on AT&T Channel 99. You can find previously aired shows on the Story Connection YouTube channel. For information on upcoming shows and previous Story Connection guests, go to storyconnectiontv.blogspot.com. You can contact us at storyconnectiontv@gmail.com, and don't forget, find us on Facebook, become a friend, and become a fan.
Well, Nate, in the couple minutes we have left, what kind of advice do you have for the filmmakers out there? Anything that you've done, anything on your journey that you can say, well, this is kind of the things that I want to pass on to other people?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, like as a teacher, you have all these different perspectives on things, and I'm constantly evolving. Keeping the audience entertained is always an important thing. Like, don't feel like you've ran a marathon by making a long film. Make something that's 3 or 4 minutes that gets people engaged and leaves them with a smile on their face, and you will win so many crowds. And it's really hard to talk people into that sometimes. They want to go bigger. They want to make a bigger film. And you're like, no, just please the audience. If you please the audience, they will love you for it. So one of my biggest advice is always to edit as much as possible, get it down to its core, bring it back, get other feedback. That's the other thing that I'm a firm believer of, is trying to figure out a way to take in criticism and help make it work for you constructively. It's hard as an artist to have someone sit there and tell you, I don't like your work and this is why I don't like your work, and to be able to maturely take that information in and say, okay, this is what they're seeing that I'm not seeing. How can I make my project better because of what you've said, and not take it as a personal attack? That's a hard step for artists, and if they can get past that hump, it'll help them out so much in their career. people are not trying to attack you. They're just giving you honest feedback about the film for the most part.
Yeah.
And also find people that give you honest feedback. My mother is the biggest fan of me. Not the best feedback to get from my mother because she thinks everything I do is awesome, and she should because she's my mother. But find people you don't know. Go go down to the community center and just say, hey, here's something, take a look at it. What do you guys think of this? Getting that feedback is also so important. And then just kind of a personal thing on my end that I've seen a lot lately is learn how to transition from one scene to another. A lot of my filmmakers have trouble, a lot of my students has struggled with that. Like they don't know how to get from one scene to the next scene. And spending a lot of time with your storyboards and figuring out how do you bridge from one scene to another is an important skill that sometimes eludes a lot of filmmakers. So keep it short, learn how to get feedback, and learn how to transition. Those are all great things, and if you can do those three things, it'll help you out with your artistic endeavors, at least in media.
Super.
Yeah.
Now, personally, is there anything waiting in the wings for you? Anything that you're going to be jumping into? Any future projects?
Oh Lord, I hope so.
Still want to do?
No, there's a lot of things I'd like to do. I mean, honestly, I could still consider myself very young. I'm going to be turning 37 next week, and I would.
Me too.
Oh,
No,
great! Congratulations. Sounds like a
I
great
wish.
age, right? Yeah. No, I'd really like to get back into doing feature films, and it would be. I feel like at some point, if I don't tell a story in feature form, I'm going to be very upset with myself. And so, I teach and I do the film festival. I do these other things because they're great positions and great jobs, and it's enjoyable time. Feature films are very risky. You put a lot of yourself into it. You put a lot of time into it, and the returns are questionable. And I understand why I haven't made that leap yet. So hopefully in the future, maybe I'll make a film. That would be a major feature-length film. That would be a huge thing for me. And then also getting back into live TV. I love doing live TV. It's a different beast, and I would love another shot at doing something live. So maybe sometime in the future I'll have another live TV going. So.
Well, good. I wish you the best. And
hopefully.
thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And I'd love to thank our wonderful crew, Greg and Lisa. And Ted, thanks for coming out tonight and volunteering your time to make the show happen.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of volunteers to put shows like this on, and we certainly appreciate it. So with that, we're going to be out there, and we're going to be asking what your story is, and hopefully there's a story behind the story that you want to share with us on the show, and we're always open for any suggestions. So you can contact us and let us know what you'd like to say.